Picture this. You're standing at the edge of a jagged cliff, the wind screaming in your ears like a banshee, tearing at your clothes, threatening to hurl you into the abyss below. Behind you, a circle of faces, your so-called friends, your allies, your confidants, murmur assurances. "We've got you," they say, their voices smooth as silk, their smiles warm as a summer's day. "Step forward," they urge. "We'll catch you." So you do. You take that step, trusting, believing, hoping. And what happens? The air rushes past you, cold and merciless. As you plummet, you twist mid-fall, glancing back, only to see those same smiling faces watching you drop, not with horror, but with calculation. They didn't catch you. They pushed you. And as the ground races up to meet you, one thought burns through the panic. In the game of power, no one is your friend. This isn't a nightmare. It's a wake-up call. We've all been there, haven't we? That moment when the mask slips, when the person you trusted most slides the knife between your ribs and twists. Maybe it was a colleague who stole your idea and paraded it as their own. Maybe it was a friend who leaked your secrets the second a better offer came along. Or maybe it was a lover who swore eternal loyalty, only to vanish when the spotlight dimmed. We tell ourselves these are exceptions, rare betrayals in a world of goodwill. But what if I told you they're not exceptions, they're the rule? What if I told you that every handshake hides a claw, every promise a trap? That's the world Niccolò Machiavelli saw 500 years ago, and it's the world you're living in right now, whether you admit it or not. Today, I'm not here to comfort you with fairy tales of friendship or platitudes about teamwork. I'm here to arm you with the brutal, unvarnished truth, a truth that's been buried under the noise of our chattering, oversharing, hyperconnected age. In the game of power, silence isn't just golden, it's sovereign. It's the shield that guards your plans, the sword that strikes without warning, the fortress that no traitor can breach. And if you want to survive, if you want to thrive, in this cutthroat arena, you need to learn how to wield it. Are you ready to stop being the prey, bleeding out on the altar of trust, and start being the predator, the one who writes the rules? Then listen closely, because this is where the game changes. Welcome to the Silent Sovereign. Let's play. Part 1. The illusion of trust in a noisy world. Let's start with the obvious. We're drowning in noise. Scroll through X right now, what do you see? A flood of opinions, selfies, hot takes, and humble brags. Everyone's shouting into the void, desperate to be heard, liked, validated. At work, it's no different. Endless Slack threads, Zoom calls where everyone talks over each other, and those nauseating team-building exercises that feel more like a performance than a partnership. We've been sold a lie. That constant communication, transparency, and connection are the keys to success. Open up, they say. Share your dreams, your fears, your plans. Build your tribe. But here's the problem. The more you talk, the more you bleed. Every word you spill is a drop of blood in the water, and the sharks are circling. Niccolò Machiavelli saw through this illusion centuries ago. In The Prince, he wrote, "Men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that one who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived." Translation: people are suckers for a good story, a warm smile, a hollow promise. And in 2025, that's truer than ever. Your co-worker who gushes about your presentation, they're taking notes to outshine you next time. That influencer who calls you their ride or die, they'll ditch you the second a bigger sponsor waves a check. We're not in a golden age of collaboration. We're in a gladiator pit, and every ally is sharpening their blade. Take a real-world example. Remember that viral X thread last month where a startup founder poured their heart out about their struggles, begging for advice? The replies were a flood of "you've got this," and "we're rooting for you." Until a competitor swooped in, used the intel to undercut them, and poached their clients. By the time the founder realized they'd been played, their business was a smoking ruin. That's not a fluke, it's a blueprint. Oversharing doesn't build bridges. It hands your enemies the matches to burn them down. Machiavelli knew this. He who believes that new benefits will cause great persons to forget old injuries is deceived. In other words, don't expect gratitude to outweigh greed. It never does. So, as we step deeper into this game, Remember, the noise is a lure. Silence is your escape. Part 2. Machiavelli's silent strategy. If the first truth of power is that trust is an illusion, the second is that silence is your sword. Not the silence of cowardice, mind you. The shrinking, trembling quiet of someone too afraid to speak. No, I'm talking about the silence of a predator. Deliberate, calculated, lethal. Niccolò Machiavelli didn't just understand this. He lived it, breathed it, wielded it like a master craftsman shaping steel. In The Prince, he famously declared, "A prince must be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." Let that sink in. A fox doesn't yap its plans to the forest. It watches, it listens, it waits. A lion doesn't roar until the kill is certain. In the game of power, silence isn't passivity, it's strategy. And if you want to stop being the hunted and start being the hunter, you'd better learn how to wield it. Let's go back to the 16th century, to a man who embodied this principle. Cesare Borgia, Machiavelli's muse and the dark star of Renaissance Italy. Borgia didn't rise to power by shouting his ambitions from the rooftops. He didn't pen manifestos or rally crowds with pretty speeches. He moved in shadows, his lips sealed, his eyes sharp. Take the conquest of Romagna, a patchwork of warring fiefs he turned into his personal dominion. His rivals, petty lords and scheming nobles, loved to talk. They bragged about their armies, their alliances, their plans to crush him. Borgia, he said nothing. He let them chatter, let them reveal their hands, while he quietly gathered his forces. Then, in 1502, he struck. One by one, those loudmouths fell, some to his blade, others to his cunning. The most infamous moment came at Senigallia, where he invited his enemies to a peace talk. They arrived, smug and verbose, expecting to negotiate. Borgia smiled, nodded, stayed silent. That night, they were dead, strangled in their beds by his loyal lieutenant, Michelato. The lesson: words are a liability. Silence is a death blow. Now, fast forward to 2025. The battlefield's changed, less blood, more bites, but the game's the same. Look at the titans of our age. The tech moguls, the political puppet masters, the quiet billionaires pulling strings behind the curtain. Do they live on X, spilling their every thought like some desperate influencer chasing clout? Hardly. Take Elon Musk. Love him or hate him, you can't deny his mastery of silence. When Tesla faced a PR storm in 2023 over production delays, the internet erupted with speculation. Analysts screamed doom, competitors gloated, fans begged for reassurance. Musk, he tweeted a cryptic emoji and went dark. Weeks later, Tesla stock rebounded, production surged, and his rivals were left scrambling. Why? Because he didn't waste breath defending himself. He let the noise exhaust itself, then acted. Silence gave him the upper hand. It always does. Contrast that with the oversharers, the ones who can't resist the spotlight. Remember that startup CEO last year who live-streamed his company's pivot on Twitch? He bared it all: financial struggles, team drama, his grand vision. The chat cheered, donations poured in, and for a hot minute, he was a hero. Then the vultures descended. Competitors poached his ideas. Investors pulled funding after seeing the chaos, and his own team turned on him, leaking internal chats to the press. By the end of the month, he was bankrupt, humiliated, and alone. Why? Because he talked. He handed his enemies the playbook and begged them to use it. Silence would have saved him. Silence always saves the wise. So, how do you wield this weapon in your own life? It's simpler than you think, but it takes discipline, something most people lack. Start with this. Shut your mouth. I mean it. Next time you're in a meeting and someone's fishing for your opinion, don't bite. Smile, nod, say, "I'll think it over." Let them talk. They'll fill the silence, desperate to prove themselves, and in doing so, they'll spill their secrets, their fears, their plans, their weaknesses. You've given nothing away. You're the fox, sniffing out the trap while they stumble into it. I've seen this work wonders. A friend of mine, a mid-level manager, used it to outmaneuver her boss. He loved to ramble in team huddles, dropping hints about budget cuts. She stayed quiet, pieced it together, and pitched a cost-saving idea to the CEO before her boss could claim it. She got the promotion. He got the boot. Silence won. Step 2. Strike when they least expect it. Silence isn't just about hiding, it's about timing. Machiavelli taught us that power isn't won with noise, but with precision. Think of a sniper, not a machine gunner. In negotiations, this is gold. I once watched a colleague haggle over a contract. The other side blabbered, offering concessions to fill the awkward quiet. He said almost nothing, just and interesting, until they'd talked themselves into a corner. Then he named his terms, calm as death, and they folded. Why? Because silence unnerves people. It makes them doubt, panic, overcompensate. You don't need to yell to win. You need to wait. Step 3. Master the art of misdirection. Silence doesn't mean absence. It means control. Machiavelli loved this trick. Let others assume what you're thinking, then use their assumptions against them. Men judge more by the eye than by the hand, he wrote, meaning perception is power. In today's world, this is your social media game. Don't post every win or whine about every loss. Drop a vague hint, a photo with no caption, a single word like soon, and let the speculation run wild. Your rivals will waste energy guessing your next move, while you're 3 steps ahead. I knew a freelancer who did this brilliantly. She'd been quiet online for months, then posted big things coming. Clients flooded her inbox, assuming she'd landed a whale. Truth. She was just brainstorming. But the buzz got her gigs. Silence built her mystique. This isn't theory, it's survival. In a world where every word can be screenshot, twisted, or weaponized, silence is your armor. It's the difference between being the pawn and being the player. Machiavelli didn't just write about power. He dissected it, stripped it to its bones, and handed us the tools to claim it. The fox sees the trap. The lion scares the wolves. And the sovereign stays silent until the board is his. So, ask yourself, are you still chattering, hoping someone cares? Or are you ready to shut up, watch and win? The choice is yours, but only one keeps you alive as we move into the next battlefield. Part 3. The modern battlefield, wolves in sheep's clothing. If silence is your sword, then the modern world is your battlefield, a sprawling, treacherous arena where the rules have shifted but the stakes remain deadly. Forget the clash of steel or the thunder of cannons. Today's wars are fought with keystrokes, whispers, and smiles that hide fangs. The enemies aren't clad in armor. They're sitting across from you at the conference table, liking your posts on Instagram, or texting you, "How's it going?" with a grin that's more predator than pal. Niccolò Machiavelli saw this coming centuries ago when he wrote, "Men forget the death of their father more easily than the loss of their patrimony." Translation: loyalty is a ghost, a mirage that vanishes the moment profit or power enters the frame. In 2025, that truth isn't just relevant. It's screaming at you from every corner of your life. The wolves are everywhere, and they're wearing sheep's clothing. Let's unmask them. Start with the workplace, that gleaming coliseum of ambition where the bloodstains are hidden under polished desks and forced laughter. You've got your team. Those cheerful colleagues who slap you on the back, share coffee runs, and nod along to your ideas. They're your allies, right? Wrong. They're clocking your every move, waiting for you to slip so they can climb over your corpse to the next rung. I saw this play out last year with a friend. Let's call her Sarah. She was a rising star at a marketing firm, always pitching bold campaigns, always hitting her targets. Her manager, Tom, was her biggest cheerleader. "You're going places," he'd say. All grins and encouragement. Then came the big promotion, a director role they both wanted. Sarah trusted Tom, so she shared her pitch with him, asking for feedback. He praised it, tweaked it, sent her off with a wink. 2 days later, Tom presented her pitch to the board, word for word, slide for slide, as his own. Sarah got a pat on the back and a better luck next time. Tom got the corner office. Loyalty? It's a fairy tale. The workplace isn't a team. It's a pack, and the alpha eats first. Now shift to the digital jungle, social media, where the wolves don't just prowl, they pounce. You've seen it. The pile-ons, the cancellations, the betrayals that start with a single post. Take that influencer last month, call her Mia. She built a following of millions, preaching authenticity, vulnerability, all that feel-good fluff. Her squad was tight, fellow creators who collabed on videos, hyped her up in comments, called her sister. Then she slipped. A poorly worded tweet about a trending topic sparked outrage. Her fans turned first, but the real blow came from her squad. One by one, they distanced themselves. Public statements like, "I don't condone this," or "We need to hold people accountable." One even leaked private DMs, where Mia vented about the backlash, twisting her words to fuel the fire. Within a week, her brand was ashes, her sisters thriving on the clout they'd siphoned from her fall. Machiavelli nailed it. Men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, covetous. Online, that's not a flaw, it's a feature. Your followers aren't friends. They're an audience waiting for the curtain to drop. Even the most intimate corners, family, love, aren't safe. You'd think blood or vows would forge unbreakable bonds, but Machiavelli knew better. The injury we do and the one we suffer are not weighed in the same scales. Meaning, self-interest trumps sentiment every time. I heard a story recently that chilled me. A guy, let's call him James, worked years to build a small business, pouring his savings into it. His sister, Emma, was his rock, helped with bookkeeping, cheered him on, even lent him cash when times got tight. Then their dad died, leaving a modest inheritance. James wanted to split it evenly, but Emma saw an opening. She claimed he'd borrowed more from her than he'd repaid, demanded the whole estate as compensation. When he refused, she sued, dragging out old texts and twisting casual promises into legal debts. She won. James lost the business trying to pay her off. Blood didn't save him. Greed did her in. Love, family, friendship. These are just costumes the wolves wear until the feast begins. This isn't paranoia. It's pattern recognition. Machiavelli didn't invent this game. He observed it, distilled it, handed us the playbook. In The Prince, he warned, "He who has the power often has enemies concealed under the guise of friendship." Today, that's not a theory. It's your inbox, your DMs, your dinner table. Think about it. How many times have you seen a friend sabotage a project for a better gig? A partner leak a secret to climb the social ladder? A leader preach loyalty while hoarding the spoils? I'll give you a personal one. Years ago, I had a mentor, smart guy. Taught me the ropes of my first job. We'd grab beers, swap ideas, plan big things. Then a client approached me directly, bypassing him. Next day, he accidentally CC'd the whole team on an email trashing my work. Stuff he'd never said to my face. The client bailed, he swooped in, and I learned the hard way. No one's your friend when the prize is on the table. So what's the takeaway? The modern battlefield is a minefield, and the wolves don't howl, they whisper. They don't charge, they creep. Your job isn't to trust, it's to track. Watch the hands, not the smiles. Listen to the silences between the words, because that's where the truth hides. Machiavelli didn't survive Florence's snake pit by being naive. He thrived by being vigilant. You're not in a sitcom where the gang sticks together. You're in a war where the casualties are careers, reputations, lives. The wolves are out there, and they're hungry. Are you going to feed them? Or are you going to outsmart them? That's the line between prey and predator. Cross it, and let's climb higher. Part 4. The Power of Solitude. Here's the brutal, beautiful truth you've been inching toward. In the game of power, the higher you climb, the lonelier you get. The crowd thins, the cheers fade, and the faces you once trusted turn into shadows or knives. Most people dread this. They see solitude as a curse, a cold exile from the warmth of friendship, the buzz of connection. They cling to their tribe, their squad, their illusions, terrified of standing alone. But Niccolò Machiavelli saw it differently, and so should you. Solitude isn't your weakness, it's your fortress. It's the unassailable peak where no traitor can reach, no wolf can claw, no dagger can pierce. He who depends on others is ruined, Machiavelli wrote in The Prince. In 2025, that's not just wisdom, it's your lifeline. If no one can claim your trust, no one can claim your fall. Welcome to the power of solitude. It's time to embrace it. Let's rewind to Machiavelli's own life, because the man didn't just preach this, he lived it. In 1512, Florence turned on him. The Medici family, those ruthless power brokers, stormed back into the city, toppling the republic he'd served. Machiavelli, once a high-flying diplomat, was arrested, tortured, and exiled. His allies? Gone. The colleagues he'd advised, the friends he'd dined with, they scattered like rats from a sinking ship. Left with nothing but a crumbling villa and his thoughts he could have broken. Instead, he wrote The Prince, a book that's outlasted empires. How? Because solitude didn't crush him, it sharpened him. Alone, he dissected human nature, mapped the game of power, and turned his isolation into a weapon. I stripped myself of all sad thoughts, he wrote to a friend, and put on my royal robes to converse with the ancients. That's solitude's gift. It strips away the noise and leaves you with clarity, strength you. Fast forward to today, and solitude's power is more vital than ever. The modern world is a meat grinder, social media mobs, workplace sharks, family vultures, and the only way out is in. Look at the winners. The tech moguls who vanish from the spotlight to build empires in secret. The artists who ditch the hype to craft masterpieces alone. The leaders who shun the crowd to plot their next move. Take Jeff Bezos. After stepping down as Amazon CEO in 2021, he didn't chase headlines or grovel for relevance. He went quiet, flew under the radar with Blue Origin, his space venture, while the press obsessed over his yacht or his divorce. Then, bam, 2024, Blue Origin lands a NASA contract worth billions, and he's back on top, untouchable. Why? Because solitude let him focus, strategize, strike. He didn't need a cheering section. He needed a clear head. That's what solitude gives you. A throne no one can topple. Contrast that with the clingers, the ones who can't stand the silence. They're the co-workers who need constant validation, the influencers who live for likes, the friends who panic when you don't text back. I knew a guy, let's call him Mark, who couldn't handle being alone. He was a sales rep, good at his job, but he thrived on the team vibe. Happy hours, group chats, always checking in. Then his company downsized. His buddies got cut, and Mark was left solo, pitching to clients without the backslaps and banter. He crumbled, couldn't focus, missed quotas, started begging old teammates for advice instead of figuring it out himself. Within 6 months, he was out. Why? Because he'd tethered his strength to others. When they were gone, he had nothing. Solitude isn't punishment, it's preparation. Mark didn't get that. Do you? So, how do you harness this? It's not about locking yourself in a cave. It's about building a fortress within. Step 1, cut the fat. List your allies. Co-workers, friends, even family. Now ask, who's here for me? And who's here for what I give them? Be ruthless. That colleague, who only calls when they need a favor? Gone. The friend who brags about your wins to boost their own cred? Out. The relative who guilts you into handouts? See ya. This isn't cruelty, it's clarity. Every tie you keep is a rope they can pull. I did this 2 years ago. Dropped half my contacts, people I'd leaned on for years. Felt like losing limbs at first, but then, freedom. No more late night, just checking in calls that fished for gossip. No more favors I couldn't refuse. I stood taller because I stood alone. Try it. You'll breathe easier. Step 2, master your craft. Solitude's power isn't just in who you ditch, it's in what you build. Alone, you've got no distractions. No chorus of opinions muddying your vision. Use that. Sharpen your skills. Hone your instincts. Stack your wins. Machiavelli didn't waste his exile sulking. He studied, wrote, became immortal. You can too. I knew a coder, let's call her Priya, who got fed up with team projects that went nowhere. She quit, locked herself in her apartment, and spent 6 months learning AI framework solo. No Slack pings, no brainstorming sessions, just her and the code. End of the year, she launched an app that sold for 6 figures. Her old team? Still arguing over fonts. Solitude isn't empty. It's where you forge your edge. What's your craft? Lock the door and find out. Step 3. Trust your gut. Solitude strips away the noise, so you can hear yourself think. Really think. The world's a cacophony of advice, trends, shoulds. Alone, you cut through it. Machiavelli trusted his instincts in exile, piecing together the prince from raw observation, not consensus. You've got that power too. Last year, I faced a fork: take a cushy job with a big team or go solo on a risky project. Everyone, friends, mentors, pushed the job. Stability, they said. Network. My gut screamed no. I took the project, worked alone, bled for it. 6 months later, it paid off. Doubled my income. No bosses, no backstabbers. The crowd was wrong. My silence was right. What's your gut saying? Listen. It's the only voice that won't lie. This is the power of solitude. It's your shield, your forge, your compass. The wolves can't touch you when you need no pack. The traitors can't strike when there's no one to trust. Machiavelli knew it, lived it, left it for us. The prince must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. Alone you're both, cunning, fierce, untouchable. The modern world wants you tethered, scrolling, sharing, leaning. Cut the ropes. Stand alone. Not because it's easy, but because it's strong. Are you ready to build that fortress? The view from the top is lonely, but it's yours. Let's bring this home. Conclusion, your call to action. We've walked a long, shadowed road together, haven't we? From the cliff's edge, where trust pushed you to your doom, through the noisy illusion of a world that promises connection but delivers betrayal, across the battlefield where wolves wear sheep's clothing, and up to the solitary peak, where power truly resides. This isn't a fairy tale with a happy ending. It's a war story, and you're still in it. The question now isn't what you've learned, but what you'll do. Niccolò Machiavelli didn't pen The Prince to entertain you. He wrote it to arm you, to wake you, to shove you into the game with eyes wide open. Ford English is a woman, he said, and if you wish to keep her under, it is necessary to beat and ill-use her. Harsh. Yes. True. Undeniably. Power doesn't wait for the timid or the talkative. It bows to the silent sovereigns who seize it. So what's it going to be? Will you keep feeding the wolves, or will you become the lion? The clock's ticking. Choose. Let's strip it down one last time. The game of power is a brutal, unrelenting machine. Trust is a trap, every handshake a potential noose, every smile a sharpened blade. You saw it in Sarah's stolen pitch, Mia's canceled empire, James's family feud. Loyalty crumbles when the prize glints. Silence is your weapon. Cesare Borgia's blood-soaked triumph. Elon Musk's cryptic mastery. Priya's solo rise prove it. The battlefield is everywhere. Your office, your phone, your home. And the wolves are legion, cloaked in flattery and familiarity. Solitude is your strength. Machiavelli's exile birthed a legacy. Bezos's quiet built a fortune. Your own cuts can forge a throne. This isn't theory. It's reality, raw and red. The world doesn't care about your feelings or your friends. It rewards the cunning, the vigilant, the alone. You've got the map now. Will you follow it? Or will you fold it up and fall? Here's your call. Stop playing the fool. The days of handing your trust to smiling assassins are over. No more spilling your plans to ears that sell them. No more leaning on shoulders that shrug you off when the wind shifts. You've seen the cost. Careers gutted, reputations torched, lives shattered. Enough. Embrace the silence Machiavelli mastered. Let it cloak you like armor, guide you like a star. Watch the wolves circle, let them howl, then strike when their guard's down. Build your fortress in solitude, cut the ropes, sharpen your blade, trust your gut. The higher you rise, the lonelier it gets, but that's not a loss, it's a victory. The throne at the top isn't crowded. It's yours alone, if you're bold enough to claim it. Are you? This isn't the end, it's the beginning. The game doesn't stop. It evolves, and so must you. The wolves won't vanish. They'll adapt, grow sneakier, sharper. The noise won't quiet. It'll scream louder, tempting you to join the chorus. But you're different now. You've got Machiavelli's playbook, his fox's cunning, his lion's roar. You've got the tools to outmaneuver, outlast, outshine. And there's more to learn, more traps to spot, more moves to master, more power to wield. That's why I'm asking you to stick with me. Subscribe now, because next time, I'll show you how to turn silence into a guillotine, how to cut through the chaos, behead the competition, and rule the ruins. This isn't just a video. It's a war room, and you're my general. Don't walk away. Step up. One final thought to carry you out. Power isn't given, it's taken. Not with noise, not with pleas, not with alliances that rot the second the sun sets. It's taken with silence, with solitude, with the cold, relentless will to stand when the world collapses around you. Machiavelli didn't survive by begging. He thrived by knowing. You can too. Look in the mirror tonight. Ask that reflection. Am I prey, or am I predator? The answer's in your hands. Use this truth as your shield, not your excuse. The game's never personal, it's survival. And in survival, the silent sovereign reigns. See you next time. Take your throne.